Officer Waldman, can I ask you a couple of questions about your time at school? Did you have any trouble or incidents at school?
Yes, not more than most kids though.
Now, the trouble that you did get into, though, was bullying, wasn't it?
Mostly for bullying, yes.
Now, before you came to work in Chicago, you had been working in 3 other cities, hadn't you, for the police force?
Yes, that's correct.
And in each 3 of those cities, you had been reprimanded for using excessive force, hadn't you?
Yes.
Now, Officer Waldman, have you ever seen this knife?
Yes, I have.
And where had you seen that knife?
In Mr. Romero's hand at the scene of the incident under discussion.
Now, you're absolutely certain that Mr. Romero had the knife in his right hand, aren't you?
Yes, very sure that it was in his right hand.
Yeah. Now, Officer Waldman, this knife, as you are probably aware, is a lockback knife, which means when you click it in, the blade doesn't come out until you press that lever. Do you want to try shutting the blade for me without pressing that lever?
Yeah, no, I can't shut it.
Okay, thank you. Now, if this knife was dropped from, say, head height and it was fully open like it is now, would the blade close?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Now, just before you shot Mr. Ramirez, you saw Mr. Ramirez with the knife,
yes.
Like this, yep?
Yep.
And then you shot him and he fell down.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, neither you nor Officer Levy touched this knife at all?
Not at all.
So between the time that you shot Mr. Ramirez to the time that the police backup arrived, this knife hadn't been touched by you or Officer Levy?
No, we had not touched it.
Okay. But when the police backup arrived and they had a look around for, all the various bits and pieces like you do with the crime scene, they found this knife shut, didn't they?
I believe so.
Okay. Now, when they took it away to fingerprint it, did they find any fingerprints on it?
No, the test came back clear.
Okay. Now, Officer Waldman, about how long? It was probably about 10 minutes, wasn't it, between the time that you called for backup and the time the police backup actually arrived?
Yeah, it could have been. I really don't remember. I was very flustered at the time, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the incident report that's just over here, it says that it was about 10 minutes. That was the other officer's opinion.
Well, then that would be correct.
Okay. Now, during those 10 minutes, did you do anything with Mr. Ramirez? Did you touch him or help him in any way?
No, I was too busy radioing for backup and checking to see that Officer Levy was all right.
So during the whole of the 10 minutes, you hadn't tried to give Mr. Ramirez first aid, you hadn't tried to stop his bleeding or anything like that?
That's correct.
Thank you, Officer Waldman.